that Diddy sued NBC for 100 million over documentary. So it says rapper Sean Diddy Combs have filed a 100 million lawsuit against the maker of a recent documentary about him as he continued to face allegations on sexual assault. Now, people are coming out saying that Diddy allegedly in live Kim Porter, which I think he's going to probably get this case overturned in his favor because they don't know that Kim death was suspicious. But the coroner ruled the Kim Porter death was natural causes. So the rapper is currently in New York jail awaiting a federal criminal trial on sexual traffic and racketeering charges, which he had denied. On Wednesday, Diddy lawyer says he was suing TV networks, NBC, its streaming service, Peacock, and production companies over the documenting Diddy, the making of a bad boy, which I believe that if Kim Porter's death was natural cause, if the coroners said that her death was natural cause, he might get this case overturned. He might actually beat this case. So it says here, the legal actions of the documentary feature untrue and undefamatory statements about the rapper. The three companies have not yet commented. It says the lawsuit says the entire premises of the documentary assumed that Mr. Combs have committed numerous of heinous crimes, including serial murder, rape of minors, and sex trafficking of minors. It says the program basically jumped into conclusions that Mr. Combs is a monster, including claims that makers knew was false and republished with reckless disregard as to whether it was false or not. Diddy is seeking 100 million in damage for the reputational of economic harm caused by the documentary. The lawsuit says the programming falsely, recklessly, maliciously accused Mr. Combs of murdering future around him, including former partner Kim Porter, rapper Christopher Wallace, known as Biggie Small, and his Notorious B.I.G. Now, the death of Kim Porter, they accused him unaliving Kim Porter, where the coroner says that the cause of death was natural cause. So, with Diddy filing this lawsuit, the lawsuit might be overturned if they can't find the cause of Kim Porter's death. So it says, Mr. Combs' lawyer Eric says NBC Peacock made a conscious decision to line their own pockets at the expense of truth and decency and base standards of professional journalism. The maliciously and recklessly broadcast outrageous lies, she said in a statement. BBC networks had asked NBC for comments. The lawsuit comes after a string of allegations have been made against the rap star by both men and women over the past 16 months. Now, keep in mind, Diddy got 50 accusers in this lawsuit. So it says it's thought there are currently more than 50 separate civil lawsuits against him. The star had been accused of kidnapping, drugging, and coercing women into sexual activities, sometimes through the use of firearms and threats of violence. Diddy is also accused of insulting and raping people. Earlier this month, a lawyer who represents dozens of accusers says he has expected Diddy to face more than 10 new civil lawsuits in addition to those previously filed. Says last week, the BBC published, and after speaking to more than 20 people who work with Diddy at his Bad Boy Records, who describe troubling incidents they says the witness during the label in 1990. Said Mr. Cohn has constantly denied the allegations in the lawsuits and had previously labeled them sickening. He has pleaded not guilty to a criminal charge. In previous statements to the BBC, Mr. Cohn lawyer says in court, the truth will prevail that Mr. Cohn never sexually assault or traffic anyone, man or woman, adults or minors. So now, when it comes to these allegations with Diddy, even with Kim Porter, a lot of people thinking that Kim Porter was, her death was, the Diddy had unalived her, which the coroner office state that the death of Kim Porter was natural cause. And that he might beat this lawsuit. So let's roll this footage. Thank you guys for tuning in. I want to play this footage. Give a big shout out to my brother, Big Ticket, man. We came up with this video, man. And I think the interest of this video is that Diddy might win this lawsuit. If the coroner said that Kim Porter, her death was natural cause, then he might beat this lawsuit.
Dreamed of owning an apartment complex and you live near one of these cities, then you've got to see the same ad that I saw 3 years ago. It was for a master class that came to my area. I now own 11 apartment complexes.
It's top notch in this game, y'all. You failures only have your self to blame, y'all. Cricket TV and they weapons make you suckers cry. Why don't you close your channel, crawl into a hole and die? Shout out to those who love our movement, no, we'll never flop. And you get your mouth on LBBC. We are the underground outfit, y'all. We build this whole thing by ourselves, looking, y'all. Independence start with self-preservation. If you can't take care of self, then how can you build a nation, y'all? Yeah, we got that merch for the ladies, and yes, we even got that merch for the babies, and we got appliances and everything that you will need. We got some banging songs that make anemic haters bleed.
Y'all press 2 if y'all can hear me in the comment section. Got a mic check. Press 2 if y'all can hear me. As y'all come on in. Can y'all hear me? Y'all can hear me? All right. Appreciate everybody that's gonna tap into this one. Y'all already know what we on right now. So, Sean P. Diddy Combs back in the news again. This time, y'all boy is suing NBC. So P. Diddy is suing NBC.
So Diddy is suing NBC. According to reports, says NBC crossed a very expensive line by putting out a documentary accusing him of murdering Kim Porter and having sex with two underage women, and now he wants at least $100 million for the network. It said Diddy filed the lawsuit Wednesday morning in the New York State, ripping the NBC Universal for Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy, a documentary streaming on Peacock, while the federally indicted has seen and heard the endless allegations against him from the feds and a slew of lawsuits. He said NBC maliciously accused him of murdering the love of his wife, mother to his children.
And the reason why he's suing NBC is P. Diddy says that he did not have Kim Porter unalived, according to reports. Again, he did not have Kim Porter unalived. Now, let's talk about this situation. Now, the report from TMZ says Diddy sues NBC for $100 million over documentary I Did Not Kill Kim Porter. Now, it says Diddy says NBC crossed a very expensive line by putting out a documentary accusing him of unaliving Kim Porter and having sexual relations with two unders. And now he wants at least $100 million from NBC. It said Diddy filed the lawsuit, right? Diddy filed the lawsuit this morning. And New York State ripping NBC Universal for Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy, a documentary streamed on Peacock, while Diddy, who's federally indicted, has seen and heard endless allegations against him, according to the reports from the feds and a new slew of lawsuits. He says that NBC maliciously accuses him of unaliving the love of his mother, the love of his life, and mother to his children. In the documents obtained by TMZ, Diddy blasts NBC for that particular claim because the LA County coroner confirmed that Kim Porter's unaliving was from natural causes, and there's no evidence of foul play. He's also ticked off the documentary amplifies YouTube conspiracy, they say, they call it on YouTube conspiracy theories, claiming it can't be a coincidence that Kim and others in Diddy's world have passed away. According to the suit, the documentary leans into allegations that Diddy had sex with unders, but he says that's a false claim. And he said that it's based on a civil lawsuit from someone claiming to have seen him with two unders. Now, Diddy points out that the suit was already discredited by the two women in their 30s who come forward and said that they were adults at the time of that encounter.
So now, what it says, Diddy and the producers informed his rip in early December they was doing a documentary about theories of his involvement in the death of Kim and Notorious B.I.G. along with the underage sex claim. Now keep in mind, Alex Sparrow because the family of Tupac Shakur is filing a claim. And keep in mind that he's going to be taking this case with Diddy involvement in the 96 connection of Pop's murder. So Diddy got another allegation that he's going to be facing. So it says, he says his rep responds to allegations, false and unverified conspiracy theories. So they calling out YouTube. And it says he also is pissed of the documentary identified YouTube conspiracies theory, claiming it can't be. Let's roll this clip.
Diddy suing NBC, Universal, and Peacock TV for defamation, and he's seeking a minimum of $100 million in damages. Now, Diddy's attorney, Erica Wolf, says in making and broadcasting these falsehoods, among others, defendants seek only to capitalize on the public's appetite for a scandal without any regard to the truth and at the expense of Mr. Combs' right to a fair trial. Mr. Combs brings this lawsuit to hold the defendants accountable for the extraordinary damage their reckless statements have caused. TMZ reached out to NBC for a comment.
I'm going to say this, you guys. The state got, evidence in this case. They got overwhelming evidence. They got Diddy's statement. They seen these videos that how he have, introduced people into the party. They show image of Diddy showing the inside of his party life. So they pretty much know that, Diddy lifestyle. They pretty know about his enterprise, his, hiring sex workers and, this was a homeland security where they found and went into his home, found 100, well, I say 1,000 baby oil, firearms, laptops. So you can imagine what's on the laptop. So they pretty much got enough evidence. This is why it's going to trial. And I strongly doubt that Diddy will be given a deal from the state. So, regarding the lawsuit, the $100 million lawsuit that he filed this morning, I think it can get overturned. But what's that's going to do when he's fighting his federal RICO indictment? What's that's going to do? There's a lot of things surfing on Diddy right now, and I won't be surprised how they will connect him with Kim Porter, Christopher Wallace, and now the death of Pop, which I said, Alex Sparrow is taking that case. So it's going to be very interesting, you guys, to see what's going to transpire and how things going to, play out. Let's go back to the clip. Big shout out to my brother Ticket, man.
Comment.
If you've been injured in a car accident, don't call an attorney. Use this AI app instead. That's what I did.
But got none. Except for the comment that they gave everybody else, pretty much that Diddy's innocent of everything. It's pretty much what they said, that Diddy's innocent of everything. You know what I'm saying? And that everybody's lying. So Diddy, standing on what he believes, which is he's innocent, has now filed a $100 million lawsuit against NBC. Now, Diddy may have a chance to win this lawsuit. I'm gonna tell y'all why. Because the coroner, according to what the reports are, did say that Kim Porter death was of natural causes. So unless you have proof of otherwise, that's going to be a hard situation to prove. Unless you have proof. Right? Right? So, I'm telling y'all what it is. So, yeah, man. Diddy, and I say it again, may have a chance to win that lawsuit. Because unless they can show, and I'm going to say it again, unless they can show that Diddy, that Kim Porter was, unless they can show Kim Porter was murked, which is going to be hard to do, they show Kim Porter was murked. You know what I'm saying? Diddy might win this lawsuit, y'all.
Let me say this. This is why social media stay undefeated. Because why do they know that the death of Kim Porter was linked? People was linking that Diddy, sons was involved. Why is, when the internet is buzzing, why is it the feds can't see and connect the dotted lines and said, because the coroner office did rule her death as it was natural cause, as there was no foul play. Now, you can remember when Kim left the party, Jay-Z and Diddy followed suit. Now, who to say that Diddy and his sons was already at the house? And that Diddy contact his sons to put that hit out. Kind of remind me of the Kathy Wright's, death. That a lot of people was putting out that she died from a brain, aneurysm. Like I said, you can't make this stuff up like Aaliyah. Like now Aaliyah's death is coming out that there was foul play in her death. So I just want to say you can't make this up. Now, the coroner did say that her death was natural cause. And that he may have action on this lawsuit.
I'm gone.
Yeah, Justin Bieber definitely got a lawsuit. But Hollywood, Hollywood gonna be quiet. Because that's what they have you do. Keep quiet. Don't say nothing. This is why Diddy came and on his interview, he told people me and Usher used to tussle over the Frosted Flakes. Man, what kind of tussle was Diddy doing with Usher? Because there's no such thing that you're going to tussle over Frosted Flakes. We used to tussle over the Frosted Flakes. There's more lawsuits filed on Diddy. What do the victims have to say, man? Right here, man. We gotta hear this, man.
So when a client comes to us with an ask to launch an influencer marketing campaign, the process is pretty streamlined. So what we'll do.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tony Busby. I'm a lawyer here in Houston. I'm licensed in Texas and in New York. And I'll introduce other members of our team as they speak. As many of you know, our law firm has been at the forefront of some of the most important litigation in the United States. We like the tough cases. We thrive in the complicated cases.
Matter of fact, Jay-Z's being served a litigation. You know that sexual assault case is going to be going to trial. And Jay-Z, if he don't go in his pockets, man, because Tony Busby he's going hard. And he got the best attorneys that he can get that represent Trump. Let's hear what Tony Busby have to say here.
We've handled over the last 25 years some very big and very important cases. I believe that this one may surpass them all. There are many facets to this. The conduct we will describe today occurred over more than 20 years. There are many people and many entities involved. And we're going to follow this evidence wherever it takes us. We will find the silent accomplices. We will expose the enablers who enabled this conduct behind closed doors. We will pursue this matter no matter who the evidence implicates. These brave victims who have stepped forward deserve nothing less. The biggest secret in the entertainment industry that really wasn't a secret at all has finally been revealed to the world.
You see what he's saying? See, even though Hollywood don't want to be exposed. See, once you open up a Pandora box, you just might as well just say, hey, this is getting out to the public. And they've been doing a good job keeping their mouth shut, but now people lives and careers is in jeopardy. Now, Tony Busby said, I'm going to say some names that's just going to blow you out your minds. There's some names still to come, man. And like I said, Diddy's RICO indictment, this can take up to 2, 3, 4 years, man. Because how much witnesses the prosecution are going to cross-examine. Just look at how many witnesses the prosecutor subpoenas. Now let's see what Mr. Busby had to say here.
The wall of silence has now been broken, and victims are coming forward. Our team has had at this point more than 3,285 individuals contact us with people claiming to have been victimized by Sean Combs. After vetting, we now represent 120 individuals who intend to bring civil claims in civil court against Sean Diddy Combs, as well as claims against many other individuals and entities that we will name as defendants as we file these individual cases. And you should know, to the extent the clients feel comfortable, we also intend to make these individuals available to the authorities, specifically to the FBI. And you should also know a few of them have already been spoken to by the FBI. Now, before we discuss the nature of the claims and claimants themselves, let me comment on the large volume of calls we have received since our first announcement. Even before the indictment of Sean Combs, we had received a small volume of calls and had screened a handful of cases. After the indictment of Sean Combs and the announcement that we were pursuing these claims, the floodgates opened. People who wouldn't otherwise, for a variety of reasons, are now stepping forward to make their voices heard and to pursue justice. But no, most of these people are scared. They fear backlash in their communities. They fear backlash in their own families. They are afraid of retaliation from the perpetrators and their associates. They are rightly afraid for their own personal safety. I expect that through this process, many powerful people will be exposed. Many dirty secrets will be revealed. We know what we are potentially up against. And as is always the case in situations like this, when a celebrity is involved, people can be downright mean and nasty. You would be shocked at the length fans will go, no matter the evidence to the contrary, to defend celebrities they love. I mean, there's a reason for this word fans. They're fanatics. I've personally already been threatened multiple times on social media. And when I agreed to pursue this, I expected as much. This isn't my first rodeo. But victims who step forward to have their voices heard should not be subjected to that kind of conduct. They should not be targeted. I want to say this, and I want to be clear about it. Although we are vetting each call as stringently as we can, I always start with a mindset that I believe victims. I believe victims because I understand the tremendous courage it takes to step forward. So if you're watching this, please hear me. If you're out there and you have been victimized, you are not alone. There is a great strength in numbers. You can seek redress. You can obtain justice. We can help you, and we will help you. That being said, as stated, we are vetting every call that we receive. We've had to turn away some. For each, we ask for corroboration. For each, we ask for the identity of witnesses. We also have collected pictures, videos, texts. We check venues, we check dates. We want to corroborate that the claims being made have legitimacy and merit. We have on staff now a former detective from the...
I want to say to you guys, these are some serious claims. Remember, during Tony Buzzy hotline, there was over 3,000 calls. People coming forward. Tony Buzzy, he's not going to let this out of his hair. He got the best legal team that he can hire. That his legal team that he hired represent Trump back in 2001. You should see this man he's very serious what he do. He's about bringing justice. You got to remember, man, that Jay-Z and his legal team at some point, you see the stations was dropped. And the reason why I say Jay-Z, he could be in world trouble. If he don't go in that pocket and get him some attorneys, man. Because you see what's going on with him and, you know what I mean, Beyonce. See, Beyonce, she don't want no part. Beyonce is running away from Jay-Z because, you know, Jay-Z, man, you know, he's next in line. He got some evidence that's going to shock the world. So you ain't hearing it from me. He got some evidence that's going to shock the world.
The Major Offenders Unit of Houston Police Department, who is helping us vet each claim. We're using our common sense. We're being stringent because, as I said, these are not easy cases. They're very tough. The process is hard, and in some cases, the process is very lengthy.
Great content needs a great audience, like Santa Claus needs cookies. What? No cookies for Santa?
These cases are hard to prove. Many times it's the victim's word against the alleged perpetrator. Each of these victims will no doubt be publicly attacked by the alleged perpetrators, and in some cases, the general public. The feckless and cowardly keyboard warriors love to attack. We know what we're up against. We did not enter this fray blindly. I wish it was my last such fray. I wish this type of behavior wasn't so pervasive. But it is what it is, so we will press on. As I said, our law firms have been retained by 120 individuals at this point to pursue cases in civil court against Sean Diddy Combs. You should know, in this group, it is evenly divided between males and females. There are 60 males and 60 females who have joined us to pursue these claims as plaintiffs. In this group, 62% identify as African American, 30% are white, and the remainder are Hispanic or Asian. The victims are from more than 25 states. The majority are from California, New York, Georgia, and Florida. I don't want to focus on the ages of these victims. When we talk about the ages of the victims when the conduct occurred, it's shocking. Our youngest victim at the time of the occurrence was 9 years old. We have an individual who was 14 years old. We have one who was 15. 25 of the 120 individuals who are plaintiffs in these cases were minors at the time of the acts complained of. The time frame of the acts complained of is very wide. The conduct at issue spans from the years 1991 all the way till this year, 2024. If you wonder why there are so many alleged victims, that's your answer. We're talking about more than 25 years of this type of conduct. Now, although most of the victims who have stepped forward were victimized after 2015, this has been going on for a very long time. Now, when you think about the fact that some of this conduct occurred 25 years ago, and you wonder why would it take somebody so long to step forward, I want to remind you that many states in the United States have recognized that it's very difficult for a victim to step forward and to make these types of allegations when something very terrible has happened to them. I'll use New York, the state of New York, as an example. The state of New York has specific statutes in place that revive claims, that are even claims that would typically be not able to be brought, that revive such claims, and they can be brought even 25 to 30 years later. Because there's a recognition there in New York and California and other states that it's very difficult for a victim to come forward. And I would respectfully suggest the only reason many of these people are coming forward because they see other victims coming forward. And it gives them some comfort that, hey, I won't be the only one. and I expect more victims will come forward. You know, there's an old saying that says, a lie has great speed, but truth has endurance. The acts complained of in these cases that we're going to file occurred primarily in New York, either Manhattan or the Hamptons, or occurred in California, primarily in Los Angeles, or in Florida, primarily in Miami. Most of these events and incidents occurred at parties, typically after parties, or album release parties, New Year's Eve parties, 4th of July parties, something they call the puppy party, the all-white party, although several of these events occurred at auditions. Many times, especially young people, people wanting to break into the industry, were coerced into this type of conduct.
See that? Many young people, young children, was coerced into going to the industry. You know, parents used to just drop their kids off. You know, the reason how I know, because I was a kid that had a dream. I seen other kids. It would be dropped off from Beverly Hills, and then from Beverly Hills start from on Hollywood. See where they had that. I guess they had that union, excuse me, there. And you know, kids was sent to Hollywood because you know they had a dream. And you know, and children is bribe and coerce and force and things, you know, that they never will even do. Some of these children was abuse, rape, sodomized. You know, you can't sit here and make this stuff up. They used to have unions, you know what I mean, and people, you know what I mean, people come to Hollywood just to get a career, just to get something going. You know, when you get out somewhere, you find out that it ain't like what people say. You know what I mean? Everything becomes reality. It becomes real. You know, you go to a party, you find out this goes on these parties, these white parties, these puppy parties. You know, you can't make this kind of stuff up, man. These after parties, man. See, when I was told, oh, all we have to do, man, is to network. When I was at the LA Film School, we had to learn how to go to festivals, network. This is what they tell you to get in, network, find the right people. You can't make this kind of stuff up. Tony Buzzy, he's slamming Diddy and these allegations that have been made. You know, before this is said and done, y'all, I won't be surprised that they find, you know what I mean, all these counts, you know, these allegations we have from racketeering and coercing, and we got prostitution and engage in underage minors. You know, you got a charge that you being allegedly accused of.
In the promise of being made a star, or in the promise of having Sean Combs listen to their tape, or even let them read for Sean Combs. You should know that Some of this behavior occurred at well-known venues in New York City. Some of this behavior occurred at private residences of people that we all know. Some of this behavior occurred at hotels that we're all familiar with. You should know that more than 55% of the victims filed reported this conduct to either the authorities, that is the police, or to hospitals. We're in the process of collecting with our team assistants, medical records, reports that were made to the authorities. And I've already said that some of the individuals in this group did in fact talk to the FBI. You should know that several of the individuals, and when I say several, I mean many, who did in fact seek medical treatment were drug tested, and drugs were found in their system, weird drugs that you probably never heard of. One in particular that continues to pop up is a drug called xylazine, or trank, which based on our research is known as a horse tranquilizer.
Try this bedtime trick to stop your partner snoring fast.
The biggest myth about snoring is when people say snoring is a nose problem.
Now, there's been a lot of reports that we're filing a class action. This is not a class action. Class action is when one or two people file a case on behalf of a group of people. That's not this. These cases will be individual cases. Each case will live and die on its own merit. These cases will be filed individually, one plaintiff against whoever the defendants were involved in the case. Each case may be filed in one venue like California, another case may be filed in New York. One case may sue just Sean Combs, but multiple other people. One case may sue a range of people. I would expect most, though, to be filed, as I said, in New York and Los Angeles. Now, I know this. Many of you came here thinking or hoping, or perhaps believing that I may start naming names. Well, that day will come, but it won't be today. The day will come when we will name names other than Sean Combs, and there's a lot of names. It's a long list already. And of course, I already know who some of these individuals are, but because of the nature of this case, we're going to make damn sure that we're right before we do that. But the names that we're going to name, assuming that our investigators confirm and corroborate what we've been told, are names that will shock you. These are individual cases. There are indeed other perpetrators involved. They will be revealed when that particular individual case is ready to be filed. They already know who they are. And I'm talking here about not just the cowardly but complicit bystanders. That is, those people.
Look, I'm gonna say it like this, you guys. This case gonna be going up to about, I'm saying 3 or 4 years. That this case gonna be going so long, guys. They got so many people that they are subpoenaing prosecution. Got so many amount of subpoenas. They got all these witnesses that's going to come forward that they're going to cross-examine. I mean, this case is going to go on. It's a federal case. I'm going to at least say 3 or 4 years. This case is going to be going on because people's life is at stake. Think how many people that's going to come forward. You know, even Justin Bieber, you know what I mean? He has some shocking revelations, and if Justin Bieber get out and speak, that's it. It's already looking that it's over for Diddy. You know, the word is, see, I said this on my last video, that he was thinning, he was getting sick. You know, and, you know, his daughters is worrying. And how he's going to stand trial. He got another hearing in court, I believe was March the 18th. another hearing, it's not really looking good, man. It's just not really looking good, you know. You know, you put yourself in this life, in this industry, in this world, that at the end of the day, man, I've been saying that we are nothing but stepping tools. You are nothing but a tool, an object to its occurring. That's what you are. That's exactly what you are. A slave, a puppet. So you can't see when I looked at that Super Bowl, especially the halftime, Kim Lamar looked like he had on this some leggings, some legging. I can't, you know what I mean? And this is, I mean, people look at it that this is, this is, you know what I mean? This is styling. This is, you know what I mean? Fashion. You know, I don't see no fashion where now all of a sudden you go walk into a store now. It's like you almost picking up some tight legging pants, jeans they made. Whatever happened to the clothes that we used to wear? Now you just go to any store, you find a pair of woman jeans, man. It's like everybody got a pair somewhere in their closet, you know, somewhere in their wardrobe. They got a pair of some tight leggings. See, things, you know what I mean, drastic change. Things is changing.
People that we know watched this behavior occur and did nothing. I'm talking about the people that participated, encouraged it, egged it on. They know who they are. I call them the facilitators of foul play, willing participants in vile conduct. As we identify them, each will be part of this case as defendants. These defendants will not only include individuals, but would also include corporate entities who ultimately profited off of this culture and behavior. I'm looking at banks, pharmaceutical companies, hotels. We know that many of these individuals were paid cash. We know that many of these individuals involved, whether they were the ones being assaulted and abused, or they're witnessing other people being assaulted and abused and then paid and threatened and told to leave. Typically paid 10 grand in cash and told to leave, and then threatened as they were leaving. So in addition to Sean Combs, you should know the defendants in these cases we're going to file will include anyone, of course, who engaged in the assault or exploitation, anyone who participated in such in any way, anyone who encouraged or facilitated this conduct, anyone who was in the room and watched it happen but made no effort to stop it, any venue or venue owner who was aware of what was going on but failed to stop it, any individual or entity who knew about the conduct and benefited from it but did nothing to report it or stop it, and any individual or entity who covered it up or helped cover it up. These people who know who they are should just come forward now. I would imagine, as we speak here, there are a myriad of people who are very nervous. You can't hide skeletons in the closet forever. I would expect there are many people out there right now who are desperately searching their memories as they delete their texts and data. Now, although these are, in fact, individual cases, there is a common theme, an MO, if you will. Typically, the victim is lured into a situation where he or she is given a drink. Typically that drink, reported by these victims, is apparently laced with something. Once that drink takes effect, the perpetrators perform all kinds of sexual acts on the victims, many times passing him or her around as other people watch and enjoy the show, and then leave the victim ashamed, confused, injured, and wondering what happened. When the victim reaches out, he or she is told not to say anything. Sometimes there are threats of all physical violence or financial repercussions or bodily harm. The claims we intend to bring will include the following: violent sexual assault or rape, sexual abuse, facilitated sex with a controlled substance, false imprisonment, compelling prostitution, sexual misconduct, dissemination of video recordings, false imprisonment, sexual abuse of minors. Given the large volume of cases, and given our other docket obligations, and given the fact that we want to be sure when we file these cases that they are fully vetted, I expect we'll start filing these cases against Sean Combs and other perpetrators within the next 30 days. Now, it's rare, sexual abuse, sexual exploitation, this type of activity is pervasive in our society, and it's rare we get a chance where we can really focus on this as a country and really focus on this about how pervasive this is and what we can, as collectively, can do about it. So I thought I'd take this opportunity before I go into some of the individual cases and talk about some of the individual claims being made and so you'll get a sense of what this 120 people group looks like individually. I want to bring forward Carrie Paul. She's a national victim advocate who helps victims who have been victimized by this type of conduct. And she has some important words, and I hope you'll pay close attention. I think it's important that you hear from her.
The Federal Reserve Bank of New York just issued a digital dollar, effectively replacing paper money with...
Hello, I'm Carrie Paul, the National Victim Advocate. It's not easy for any survivor to come forward. Our culture doesn't believe survivors. It blames and questions them. Instead of showing support.
Now, I think about the power that these magicians have, these influencers have, all these, people that's coming forward, especially when it comes to the children's. When children's is promised careers, and some of them bribe into this sexual activity like ushering. And there's a lot of other kids, sexual abuse, and promise this. But you see the cohort, they made this case as an enterprise that Diddy hired sex workers, males, women, boys, girls. It's this sickening. And this, as you seen Cassie Ventura, that's why I say when she opened up that Pandora, see what got Diddy, he should have put himself to settle. Let me just go and settle with her and let's keep my name clean. But that kind of behavior that we seen of him, You know, shocked the whole world. That behavior, Diddy shocked the whole world. That right there, you can't. It's like you can't come back from that. Like you've been a math man. You know, it's sad because that that footage, footage, that alone, you know, can find Diddy guilty. That alone. You know, not to mention the lawsuits that he got. Not to mention what you know what I mean, what Jay-Z legal team is doing now. You know what I mean, Alex Sparrow, he already going to take the case with Diddy involvement in the connection of Pop's death. So you can't make this stuff up, man. Diddy's in enough trouble, and now he's found $100 million on NBC. Because he's being accused of unliving Kim Porter. You know, Kim Porter's death was a cover-up. This is as much as the death of Kathy Wrights. And you see the death of Leah, the death of, you know what I mean, Tupac, the death of Biggie. Can't make this stuff up.
Many choose to enable abusers. The media runs stories asking why it took so long for survivors to come forward instead of asking what barriers exist. We also don't equip law enforcement with the ability to handle sexual assault crimes. Lack of funding translates to lack of training. We have officers in the field that don't know what to say to a rape victim, and also an alarming amount of backlogged, untested rape kits. Prosecutors are focused on what they can prove in a case, and if so, how to do that at time of trial. Advocates and staff are stretched thin with growing caseloads in the criminal justice system. Most people don't know how the criminal justice works in general. There isn't enough staff or resources to adequately explain the entire process to every victim and survivor. Our culture works against victims and survivors every day, and abusers know this. Abusers work themselves into positions of power, building a public image that is trusted and financially large enough to make people look away. Abusers are unfortunately very skilled at power and control, the foundation of abuse. They seek victims who are vulnerable, such as children, their employees, and their intimate partners, all who see a different version than the public does, all who rely on the abuser in some way. And for those that do come forward and aren't believed, face questions like, are you sure it happened that way? Were you drinking? What were you wearing? All of this creates an environment that enables abusers to continue abusing them and future victims. To the survivors that have come forward, despite not being believed at some point in time. Your courage is like nothing we have seen before. We thank you for coming forward for yourself and all survivors. And lastly, I want all survivors that are watching this to know we believe you and we support you. Thank you.
I just got paid $60,000 for my car crash from using this app on my phone. And I don't know if you can see this, but it's called the Case Connect Compensation Calculator right here. And it's for $60,000 and I'm about to go cash it. For those of you that don't know what Case Connect is, it's one of the largest settlement payout companies in the world. They developed this app that has helped over 140,000 people get paid huge checks after their car accidents. The app asks you 4 simple questions, then compares your car accident to millions of other accidents. Then it can tell you instantly if you qualify for a huge check like I got.
I want you now to hear from my co-counsel, Andrew Van Arsdale. We've created a sexual abuse hotline, and I want him to visit with us just a few moments about how that works and the kind of volume of calls we've received.
Thank you, Tony. Like Tony said, my name is Andrew Van Arsdale. I'm the managing partner of ABA Law Group. We have offices in California, Montana, and North Carolina. To build off of what you just so well said, it's very hard to come forward. And given what we've experienced the past 10 days is really unprecedented in my career, at least. We represent thousands of survivors of abuse. And never, ever in a 10-day period have we seen over 3,000 people come forward where we've confirmed and decided to investigate and represent 120 people while we're continuing to work through another 100+ cases to prove them up, to validate what had happened here, and to hold those that are responsible accountable. And so like Tony said, we've set this up. 1-800-200-7474. I have a team of people standing by literally. If you know that this happened to someone and you have information about it, please contact us. If this happened to you, come forward. There's attorney-client privilege here. What you tell us is in confidence. Yes, we'll have to go out and build your case, but we will protect you. And the other thing that I want to say is the pattern and practice of this, again, is unprecedented. Over 30+ years of the same sort of events happening, people thrust into the circle reportedly, and horrible things happening.
You see how you see what he's saying there? Over 30 years, these people been getting away with these sexual acts. This violence acts and activities. They've been getting away with it. You know, the industry ain't like what y'all see. It ain't like, you know what I mean? It ain't like just because, you know what I mean, you very talented, you got a couple diplomas and college degrees, university degrees. Well, guess what? Don't even take that. But you have to follow a pattern. You have to follow what they tell you. You know, that's all it is. Like, you gotta follow what's said. You gotta do what's said. You know, never in my lifetime I could see that people have a willing to do these strange things, acts it. You know, They expose black culture. Let's look at the hip hop culture. Look at the hip hop world. It ain't like what you see it. Nah. Every person's part of this morality crap. It's part of the society. This mafia run. You know what I mean? Because Hollywood's run by the mafia, by the gay mafia. See, Hollywood is real, man. Hollywood is a place where children's systemized, man. Especially how they do children's, man. Now, nothing surprised me, brothers and sisters. When this gets underway, his trial gets underway, and you're gonna hear some strange allegations. And the state, they taking in the trial. I don't really think. I don't really think Diddy's going to even get a deal. They really want to hear. They want to hear everything. And this is why I say, man, Diddy ain't getting no. They ain't cutting Diddy no deal, man. The state want to hear all the evidence going to be presented. They want to hear it. They believe that they got enough evidence to find him guilty, but they want to hear everything, man. There's some big names they want to hear. You know what I mean? And you got to understand, man. These big names, you know what I mean? It's going to shock you, Buzzy said. And like I said, man, it's all about them getting paid, man. It's all about them getting paid, man.
To them as a result. And from talking to these people that have come forward these past 10 days, I can tell you unequivocally that because the federal government did what it needed to do and indicted this man, that they put him in jail and the judge kept him in jail, they tell me directly, this validates my feelings. For so long, I thought it was my fault. What is it about me that put myself in that scenario? What was I wearing at the time? What did I do to be subjected to such horrific treatment at these people that I was trying to trust? Well, we know now it was not your fault. You were victimized by a group of powerful people that operated.
I'm going to get so much hate for this, but the top affiliate marketers are not being completely honest with you. Let me break.
For 30 plus years, taking advantage of their wealth and the power that they held within the music industry. So again, thank you to every single person that has come forward and contacted our office over the past 10 days. If you or someone you know suffered the same sort of treatment, please contact us at the number behind me and we will help you. Thank you.
I think it speaks to how important this issue is in the United States and frankly internationally, that we have reputable people here that want to provide kind of information that I think victims need to hear, witnesses need to hear, the public needs to hear. Let me introduce to you now Olivia Rivers from the Texas Association Against Sexual Assault, and let her visit with you a few moments about these types of cases.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Q Olivia Rivers. I am just served my 6th year as the board chair for the Texas Association Against Sexual Assault. I'm also the CEO for the Bridge Over Troubled Waters, which is a local rape crisis center here in the Houston area. So thank you for being here as we address these heinous crimes. Sexual assault is not just a crime of violence against the body. It's an assault on the very essence of human dignity and safety. It shatters lives, it destroys confidence, and all too often, It leaves survivors feeling like they are voiceless, isolated, and vulnerable. The reality for many survivors is that coming forward to report their assault is one of the most difficult and daunting tasks that they will ever have to do. And for some, it may take days, months, or even years to speak up, if they ever do. The reasons for this have been mentioned, but include the fear of being disbelieved, being blamed or judged, and, of course, retaliation. The trauma of the assault itself being compounded by the trauma of the criminal justice process, where survivors must relive their experience in order to seek justice. And these feelings and fears are further exacerbated when the allegations are against prominent figures in the entertainment industry or Hollywood. Cases involving powerful figures often attract significant media attention, which can deter victims from coming forward due to fear.
Hear what she said, man. These people are known as big influencers. Powerful. I say powerful magicians, man, because a lot of people listen to their music, man, and they idolize these magicians, man. And some people have just been paid to keep their mouth shut, man. You get paid money just to keep your mouth shut, not to say nothing. Don't say nothing, get you killed. Now there was that lady, that 13-year-old, well, let's say 13-year-old girl. Now she's like what, 38. But it was the 13-year-old girl. She came after it had been 25 years. And you see the more her statement, the more how it's adding up. Now a lot of people say she couldn't remember anything, and her statement was in you know what I mean, inconsistent, and you know what I mean. But it's adding up, because you know that mansion that was, I guess that was that mansion that Diddy had, that was, I believe, was rented in '98. They did an investigation, and then there was a party that happened in the year 2000. See what I'm saying? Tony Buzzy got something. That's why Jay-Z, man, Jay-Z right now. Jay-Z is running, man. Jay-Z is scared, because he don't know what's gonna happen. He don't know what's gonna happen next. But Tony Buzzy got so much evidence to present. That's why I believe that there will be a litigation.
Fear of public exposure or scrutiny. The intense focus on these high-profile cases can make survivors feel that their personal lives are being put under a microscope, causing further emotional distress. These allegations mentioned here today, as reported, reflect deeply troubling claims that deserve thorough investigation, and no individual, regardless of their stature, is above the law or public accountability. Sadly, the statistics paint a very disturbing picture. According to the National Sexual Violence Resource Center, 1 in 3 women and 1 in 6 men will experience some form of sexual violence in their lifetime. In the U.S. alone, there are approximately 463,000 victims of rape or sexual assault every year, and these numbers barely scratch the surface, as sexual violence remains one of the most underreported crimes. But the numbers that follow tell an even more troubling story. Only about 23% of sexual assaults are reported to law enforcement. Of those, just 5% lead to an arrest, and even fewer, less than 1% of reported cases, ever result in a conviction, which is a devastating gap between the crime and the justice that survivors deserve. I want to briefly focus on our state here in Texas. According to the Texas Association Against Sexual Assault, 6.3 million Texans, men and women, will experience some form of violence. That's every 2 minutes someone is sexually assaulted, meaning during the course of this press conference, around 60 individuals will forever be changed by this violence. And those are just a few of the victims. Obviously, this is unacceptable. We cannot allow this cycle of silence and inaction to continue. We have to create an environment where survivors feel empowered to come forward, where they are met with empathy and respect and support, not skepticism and blame. We have to ensure that our legal system is equipped to handle these cases with the seriousness they deserve, and that survivors have access to the resources that they need beyond the legal courtroom. We have to address the root causes of this epidemic: prevention, awareness, and fostering environments where respect, consent, and safety are non-negotiable values. Additionally, support for survivors has to be holistic. They have to have access to counseling, medical services, legal advocacy, and of course, community support, regardless of whether they choose to report or not. To every survivor who has come forward, your bravery is an inspiration. To those who are still grappling with their decision, know that you are not alone and that your voice matters. Your story matters. We see you, we believe you, and we are committed to fighting for a future where sexual violence is no longer tolerated and where justice is not the exception, but the standard. Thank you.
If you've stopped driving at night because of vision problems, try this simple ice hack with water before.
I want to visit with you real quickly before we close here about some specific instances without disclosing the victim's name. You probably know that depending on the age of the victim, you can file these cases, these individual cases, under Jane Doe or John Doe. Each state is different in that respect. Typically, there is a balancing test, like the public's right to know the name of the victim and plaintiff versus the confidentiality and the safety of the plaintiff. So we'll have to struggle with that with each one of these cases. Our intention, of course, is to, like we always do, file these cases under a pseudonym until the court tells us otherwise. But let me share with you a few, just kind of give you a sense of the kind of cases and the kind of instances that people are calling and reporting that we are trying to corroborate, vet, and these are the ones that we've already corroborated, vetted, and collected evidence on. One individual who was 22 years at the time she was assaulted said that the typical MO at one of these parties that have been widely discussed in the press was that when you were handed a drink, and now we know that the drink is laced with something, if you refused to drink it, you were kicked out of the party. Now, let that sink in for a minute. I mean, the admission to this party was that you had to drink the chosen drink that was handed to you. And now we know that in most cases, I would say 90% of the cases, these individuals were drugged with some sort of drug. That was kind of the MO. Another instance, this individual who was 9 years old at the time was taken to an audition in New York City with Bad Boy Records. Other boys were there to audition as well. All of them were trying to land a record deal. All of them were minors. This individual was sexually abused, allegedly by Sean Combs and several other people at the studio in the process.
I just told you guys, I can back these claims up. You just heard from this man that how children is treated, man. Sexually abused, rape, sodomized, all this stuff, man. And all they wanted is a career. That's it. How can kids be given drinks? It's just not liquor, but drinks is spice. Because there was a woman that didn't drink, and a woman that came over, and there was a drink at the table, and she feel she was ooze, and like I said, the same woman that was that was drinking one time and was in the bed with Diddy, and then this last go around, she can't even remember that how she got in the bed with Diddy. See, you can't make this stuff up, man. Can't make this stuff up.
Promise to both his parents and to him himself of getting a record deal. Another instance, another minor, told allegedly by Sean Combs that he would make him a star, but needed to visit with him in private about it, away from his parents. Once they were in a private area, allegedly Mr. Combs made the victim perform oral sex upon him. Another incident, an individual 15 years old at the time, flown to New York City to attend a party, was drugged and then taken into a private room, allegedly in the presence of Mr. Combs, where this female individual, minor, was raped, and then other individuals took turns raping her. Another individual, 26 at the time of the occurrence, was picked up by, allegedly, by Mr. Combs and several other people in a black SUV from the airport, was given one drink in the SUV, and then literally woke up the next day not knowing what had happened, but with pain and damage to both her vagina and her anus, where she then went to the hospital. She was missing her underwear and her shoes. Another instance, an individual, this time not a minor, was attended a group dinner, allegedly with Sean Combs in Miami. She wasn't drinking because she was pregnant, but whatever she drank at the table, apparently, at least according to her, was laced with something. She blacked out, and she woke up in the same bed, again allegedly, with Mr. Combs in his mansion in Miami. Her vagina and her anus were torn and sore. And I could go on. I mean, literally, you're sensing a theme here. It's the same theme, and it all involves some sort of drug. One instance, an individual who was 20 years old at the time was asked to attend, just saw her on the street, asked to attend a party in a hotel. She was flattered, went to the party, was given one drink and doesn't remember anything else. Ultimately, was so messed up, went to the hospital where they found cocaine and this horse tranquilizer in her blood system. I want to give you a quote from a very young man who told us over the phone about his experience and all the things that happened to him. He says, allegedly at the hands of Sean Diddy Combs and his friends, in the effort to try to sign a record deal. This was kind of what he was told he would have to do. His quote is, "Had he not been in power, I feel like I could have been something great. I quit the industry because of what Sean Combs did to me." And that's really what it comes down to. We are pursuing this, asking you to support this effort, to encourage witnesses and victims to come forward and bring your evidence so we can continue to break down this wall of silence and we can continue to have these stories heard. This is the beginning of what I hope to be a national dialogue. This type of sexual assault, sexual abuse, and sexual exploitation should never happen in the United States or anywhere else. This should have never been allowed to go on for so long. This conduct has created a mass of individuals who are injured, scared, and scarred. If you are one of those individuals, we ask you to reach out. If not to us, to someone you trust. If you are someone who witnessed any of these events, we ask you to reach out. your name can remain confidential. With that, I'll take a few questions, not many, maybe two, but if you have a question, I'll be pleased to try to answer it. Perfect.
How many minors are making accusations in total, and are the feds aware of the allegations of minors?
I don't know what the feds are aware of, okay, but I do know it's 25 out of this 120. But I will say this to that point. We welcome the FBI or any authority who wants to come to us, and we're going to make that available to these victims because I think that's important. My suspicion is, based on talking with these folks, is that the FBI is just not aware of these people. The FBI has talked to some of these folks, and I'm going to try to encourage the victims to, in fact, talk to the FBI because I think they have some very important things to say.
Tony, were all of the children auditioning because they were musicians, or were any of them kids of employees or anything like that?
All seeking either TV or some sort of music career with promises of, we're going to make you a star. Instead, basically did things to them such that they don't want to have anything to do with the entertainment industry ever again. All right, guys. Thank you very much for your attention. We're going to go now. Thank you.
There you have it, man. You can't make this stuff up, man. These kids was promised, was bribed, was coerced. And they got to a point that they decided not to even want to pursue their careers, man. Thank you guys for tuning in, man. Like I said, man, I'll be back with another live. But till then, I'm out. Much love, much respect.